Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this week's live stream with the WIIL Summit. Hi, I'm Valerie Lane. I'm founder of Miss Social Mogul, social media marketing and virtual event planning company. So excited to be with you all on this Thursday evening. Hopefully you all have like a fun beverage or something to sip on while you cozy up with Linda and I. So I am involved with the WIIL Summit. I'm on the planning committee, good friends with Sarah, who's obviously all things WIIL Summit. And I'm happy to be participating in the live Facebook events as well, especially at a time when everybody is certainly a little bit more connected on social media and spending more time at home. So let's get to it. I want to get to the good stuff. This evening, we are having a conversation with Linda. She is the president of Women in Leadership Development and Empowerment at WIIL. And Linda's going to talk with us this evening about nonprofits, how to start nonprofits, sort of what to do once you have that status. And hopefully by the end of this conversation, everybody will be Googling 501c3 application, and we'll have all sorts of nonprofits in the works that are going to help solve our world's issues. So Linda, I'll let you, introduce yourself, talk a little bit about what you do.
Hi, Valerie, and thanks for having me. I'm a fan of the WIIL Summit community. I enjoy, being a part of the WIIL Summit community. I was actually one of the speakers last year myself, and I am returning this year. So honored to be one of the coaches. But I am Linda Ray Quenty, and as you said, I am the president of Women in Leadership Development and Empowerment. And we are a professional women's-based charity. We are women that are intentional about personal and professional growth, and we're dedicated to community service. So if you're a woman that wants to thrive, definitely look up on our community, because we're always welcoming new women. We love to grow and thrive with you. I'm also the founder of Linda Ray Global, and it's a coaching and consulting firm. I work a lot with working mothers on their life's journey. Women that are feeling stuck and just, want tools and strategies to leave from feeling stuck to thriving. And also corporations teaching leadership. And through Linda Ray Global, we're also an extension of the Nonprofit Institute. And that is a program where we teach young nonprofit entrepreneurs how to start and grow their own sustainable and impactful nonprofit organizations. So that's kind of what I'll be sharing with you guys today. And I am an author. My book is called Memoirs of a Working Mother, Fighting for Balance, Managing Expectations, and Channeling Love. And that is my labor of love and self-help tool to really help women thrive, whether it's personally or professionally. And a lot of people that know me know I love my heels. But when I'm not in my 6 inches, I wear combat boots. I am a captain in the United States Air Force. And currently I am the Chief Financial Officer here in Dover. So that's it about me. And I'm just glad to share with you all tonight.
Oh my gosh. Seriously, what a treat. So many different things that you're involved in. I'm also a big fan of heels. Love the high heels. It's been a hard adjustment since the beginning of all this, because my yellow stilettos are just in the closet,
Some days I just feel like dressing up and maybe take the trash out, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Before we get into everything, Linda, I didn't realize you were an author. So first of all, that's incredible. Where can people buy your book?
So the book is available on Amazon, Barnes & Nobles, and Books A Million. Okay. If you want an autographed copy, which I'll be glad to sign for you, you can get that directly from my website, lindaarray.com.
Oh, that's perfect. Okay, great. Yes, because we definitely want to make sure that we are, reading, spending our time productively at home. And I'm a huge book fan. So I wanted to make sure I got that answer for myself before we moved on. Fabulous. So there's so much going on so far in 2020, right? I mean, it's an incredible year. We've had so much learning and growth, right? We're only halfway through. And I can imagine that many young people have a lot of blossoming aspirations right now on how they can help solve social justice issues or healthcare issues, or just, passions that they haven't had time to lean into that they now have time for. And that might look like starting a nonprofit to serve their community. So if someone is thinking of starting a nonprofit, what advice would you have for them?
Well, I would first say congratulations, because that is a big step and commitment to say you're committed to, impacting change. So it's really congratulations first, and just thank you for your commitment to service. But, to start a nonprofit, it's beyond just having an idea or wanting to do good. I first always want to tell people that your nonprofit is a business. That is the first mindset that you have to impact before you even engage in this journey. It's not a hand-me-down, it's a business. And you have to start and grow it like a business structure that actually creates impact. So, based on what impact that you feel you want to create, that determines what kind of application you want to do with the IRS. We have 30 minutes today. I will focus on the 1023 Easy. There is another vigorous process based on your annual revenue. So if you're an organization that makes over, $50,000 in your annual revenue a year, I highly recommend you do a regular 1023. If you think in the next 3 years, your annual revenue will not exceed $50,000 a year, you can go for the 1023 Easy, which, I'll elaborate on today. The IRS asks for a few basic things for you to actually submit a 1023 Easy. You have to have board of, executive officers, which is the president, the chief financial officer, they want a treasurer, and they want a board of directors. So they are also looking for you to have at least, 3 board members. And these board members cannot all be your family. So if you have 1/3 majority of your board being your family, you actually have to extend your board to mitigate that 1%. So instead of having 3 members, you may want to think about having, 5 members. And I will talk more about the board, if we have more time for that. And another thing, when you go about the registration process, certain information the IRS is looking for is if you have, is this business incorporated? Delaware is one of those states that all you have to do is incorporate your business and then apply for your EIN number through the IRS. Delaware is one of the 4 states that you don't actually have to register your nonprofit with the state. You just have to incorporate it. So you want to do your research to see what are the requirements of your state. When you have your letter of incorporation, which you can file with the Secretary of State office, once you have that letter of incorporation, when you can then, and your EIN number from the IRS. Those are 2 main things you need, plus those 4 offices that I mentioned earlier to actually start your 1023 Easy process. And you do that on pay.org. And a lot of people always say, it's not, people make it feel as if it's such a vigorous process to apply. It takes time to do all the pre-paperwork, right? But that's something you are empowered, and you with the resources, you can actually do these on your own. So you don't have to come pay me. I would take the money and do it for you. But that's a knowledge is power, right? So look up your state. How do you go about getting your nonprofit incorporated, and you apply for your EIN number. EIN number is free through the IRS website. You can do it on your own. It takes a few minutes. All these organizations that say pay me to file for EIN number, that's a scam. Please don't give anybody your money. You can do that on your own. And then you also need a mission statement, because you would have to put that mission statement in your application. So those are some basic information that you actually need. And you can sit down on a computer and complete this application on your own. The fee right now for the 1023 Easy is $275. Is that all you need to start a nonprofit? No, because you also have to pay for your incorporation. So you want to have at least, budget. If you're doing the 1023 easy. You want to budget probably $1,000 for all the paperwork, the filing fees, and also money you need to start community impact. The next question is, do I have to wait to have my 501c before I start doing nonprofit activity? And the answer is no. If you have this vision and you're ready to execute, I say go for it and start. And just saying I'm starting a nonprofit is not enough. What is the impact that you're going to create? What problem are you solving? Just the same as when you're creating a business, right? Who's your consumer? Who's your ideal client? You have to ask the same questions when you're starting a nonprofit, because people want to know that you're actually impacting change and creating transformation. I always tell, a simple example is, you have two people that are selling weight loss pills, right? And somebody comes to you and say, I sell weight loss pills. And another person comes to you and say, I help women lose 10 pounds in 3 days. They all have the same product, different brand and different messaging. Who are you going to buy your weight loss pills from? The person with a clear messaging about the impact. Is the same philosophy with your nonprofit. You have to have clear messaging about what problem you're solving. What is the pain point of your ideal client to have their buy-in? So that's how you curate your messaging. That's how you create your mission statement. That's how you create your vision. And that's how you start about creating programs that you're actually going to do with your nonprofit. So again, get your documentation, your whatever you need to incorporate. Some states also need, letters of formation. And while you're doing all of these things, you also have to start thinking about your bylaws. Bylaws are so important. A lot of banks will not actually give you a nonprofit bank account without a bylaw signed by the president and the secretary or some of the officers of the nonprofit organization. And your bylaws, those are your operating instructions, right? Whatever you need to govern your nonprofit, those go in your bylaws. Some states actually have some mandated phrases that must be in your bylaws. You have to look that up. That information is available online. Look it up and make sure those mandated informations are in fact in your bylaws. And then you incorporate now, whether it's the roles of the president, the roles of your vice president, the roles of your board of directors. Because I talked earlier about not just getting your family members in there, because people get excited. They want their best friend. They want their sister. Are these people actually committed to the cause? And are these people going to give you their time and their money? You have to be very selective about the people that you bring in to actually represent your board, the people that you bring in to be executive officers of your nonprofit. So you have your bylaws, you have, your board of directors, and you apply for your business bank account, because there's nothing like having your nonprofit and mixing that with your personal bank account. It doesn't work.
It doesn't.
And it's not good for being, for audits. It's not good for audits as well. And then you also have to start thinking about, other social platforms like Facebook for nonprofits. So Facebook, actually, if you're a registered Facebook for nonprofit, you can actually fundraise under the nonprofits organization, under the nonprofits umbrella, directly on Facebook. Facebook is a partner with GuideStar. So everybody knows about Yelp. You want to go to a nice restaurant, you look up Yelp and check reviews. GuideStar is the Yelp for nonprofits. So GuideStar pulls this information directly from the IRS database. So that is a really great platform to go on there. Once you've received your 501c acceptance letter from the IRS, you're now an official 501c. Go on to GuideStar, look stuff up and update your profile. So when, we start talking about funding, a lot of funders actually go on GuideStar to verify that you're a legitimate nonprofit organization. They have different tiers from a gold star, silver star. Go on there, fill your profile, and a star, so people know that, you are credible. So those are just some of the basics for you to actually start your nonprofit organization.
I can remember a couple of years ago, I think it was sort of the beginning of, it was actually the beginning of 2018 that I live in Newark and I'm active in the Newark community. And there was a group of people who were starting a new nonprofit called the Newark Partnership. And we wanted to start a nonprofit, and nobody in this group of 20 some individuals had ever started a nonprofit before. And looking back now, we actually started the application process late 2018 and got it in 2019. So it's been about 2 years-ish now that we've been together. And everything that you just said, first of all, it's amazing that you can spew that off of the top of your head because I feel like I would need a cheat sheet.
Yeah, I've been doing it. Tell people I can do nonprofits in my sleep.
Really? I mean, really, you can.
Yeah.
And we did everything that you just said, but it was just one step at a time. So if you're listening or you're watching this later and you are kind of feeling intimidated by the process, I just want to say I've literally been through it with a team of people, and it's so doable. You just do it one step at a time, right? You say, okay, I did this piece of paper. What's the next piece of paper I have to do, right? Like now I go to the bank and I open my account, right? Like, and one day it sort of all just comes together. But I really love what you said about treating your nonprofit as a business, Linda. I think that is something that people just don't consider. They think businesses are out to make money and nonprofits are out to help people. Yeah. And especially in 2020, we're seeing this real overlap of social enterprises where you have businesses that, yes, they need to stay profitable. By the way, nonprofits need to stay profitable too, right? But they have a social mission like Burt's Bees and Ben & Jerry's and Tom's and all these different, big brands that do so much good. But then you also have nonprofits that are huge that need to make money to pay their staff. They have the same things as a business, right? That also have a great impact as well. So that's one of the smartest things I think you can tell people who are trying to start nonprofits, because revenue is not something that people associate with nonprofits, right? Especially if you're something small.
Yeah, you need money to run your nonprofits, and I tell people getting that 501c that's not the destination. That's when the work starts.
Yeah.
And I shared earlier, you don't have to wait until you get your nonprofit before you start, because your nonprofit gives you the power for you to actually now go after bigger impact, bigger dollars, bigger funders, right? But you don't need to wait until that, because a lot of funders don't want to, be the first partner.
It feels risky, right?
Yes. And so people want to also see that you have credibility and that you are capable of doing the work that you say you're asking money from. So you have to start. I go back to the board. Your board of directors is so important. And somebody asked me the other day that, somebody just invited me to be on their board and they are charging $1,000. And I'm going to volunteer my time. Where am I paying for it? And I say the board of directors and the founders are the first funders of the nonprofit. You, the nonprofit founder, need to be able to invest into your nonprofit starting out. The same with your board of directors. You guys, if you cannot contribute to your own nonprofit, why should I? So you are the first funders of your nonprofit to get those projects going so that you have bargaining power to actually solicit larger funding. So I say when you're approaching a potential donor and a potential, funder, they want to see certain things. They want to see that you've already created impact. What have you done so far that you're looking for more money? That establishes your credibility and establish your to-do power. And then, how are you going to amplify your impact with our partnership? You have to know your numbers. A lot of people don't know how much it takes to effectively run their nonprofit on a monthly basis. You have to know your numbers. You have to know how much it takes. And you also have to know your impact numbers. If you were to use $1,000 to run your nonprofit, how many homeless people do you feed with $1,000? So not just your dollar numbers. You have to know both your dollar numbers and your impact numbers, because that together makes the impact statement that you put in your funding application. By this funder coming in, how do you amplify your mission and your impact? So funders want to know how far they can take you with this partnership. Another thing funders want to know is how beneficial is this partnership to them? Because what I see a lot of nonprofit do is, give. I want, but it's a partnership. The way you get large funders is to actually solicit partnership. You want to partner with the right organizations. You want to partner with the right people that trust and believe in that mission and in the value that you bring to the table. You may be a small nonprofit, but how do you sell yourself to say that I am a valuable member for you to establish this partnership with and trust me with your dollars? Because those dollars, they will give it to somebody. Why should they give it to you?
Right. Yeah.
So it's so important, if you want to go about big dollars, when people think about fundraising, people only, a lot of people think about, I would do an event, I would raise funds on Facebook and stuff like that. Those sources of funding are not sustainable. So
also,
how do you
get, very expensive.
Yes, how do you get that $50,000 check? How do you get the $100,000 check? Those are the things you should be thinking about, because again, your nonprofit is a business. At some point, I talked about you investing in your nonprofit starting out, but that's not the ultimate goal. The ultimate goal is not for you to create impact and transform communities and then use, you are the sole source of funding. That's not the ultimate goal. The ultimate goal is for you to utilize your strengths, your skills, and give back to the community. And if that is something you're passionate about and want to do full time, you should have the power to be able to do that full time by also being an employee of that nonprofit. So you have to start creating a structure where you can actually employ people to do these jobs, because that's how you pivot. That's how you scale. You can't scale by being this one person running this nonprofit. You have to be able to bring people in, whether it's full-time staff, part-time staff, because a lot of people think nonprofit and all they go is volunteers. I need a volunteer president, a volunteer secretary, a volunteer financial. It doesn't work like that. In the beginning, yes, but you scale by actually recognizing the value that these people bring and rewarded them for it. If this is something that, your entire board and your entire executive officers are doing it when they have time, you are not going to scale that way. You actually have to start creating programs and, building a structure that somebody can see and say, oh my God, this is a fully functioning nonprofit that I can trust and invest in. Right. If you're the only one nonprofit and you're not even somebody that you can't even employ even one person, it looks like a risky business for funders to invest in.
Yeah, I'm thinking about the scaling. You almost have to start when you're thinking about your nonprofit. You're thinking about, your mission, your impact. You have to know your dollars at all times, right? What money's coming in, what money's coming out, how your cash flow is working. But also how you're going to scale and what positions you need to be thinking about first, right? So it's the same as thinking about what positions you need at a business, right? Yes, you need social media support, but as a social media marketer, your first hire, or as an executive director, your first hire, if you're not going to be your own executive director, right? And having those thoughts from the beginning, I think helps you realize how much capital you actually need to get your nonprofit some momentum. I like to think of it as when you're thinking about funding, and I want to ask you a little bit more in a second about what types of funding opportunities are available for nonprofits. But I almost think of it like run your nonprofit like you're going to be on Shark Tank. You have a panel of investors that their money will go to someone, whether it's the really cool lint brush or the beach towel or the UV light for your phone or whatever it is, right? They're going to give it to somebody, but you need to sell them on why your nonprofit is the one that needs their dollar. And that's for the $100,000 checks, everything down to the $5 monthly donations that people would make too, right? Communicating that value. We're all human and we're all going to make decisions about about where our money's going. So why don't you talk a little bit more about, venture capitalist is just such a buzzword for like entrepreneurs. Does that translate to the nonprofit world at all? Or what sort of funding opportunities do you recommend for people who need to raise some capital for their nonprofits?
No, absolutely. When people hear about venture capitalists and other, small business administration loans and stuff like that, people always ask, is it for me? Yes, it is for you. Nonprofits also qualify for these opportunities. Recently PayPal did this grant that only lasted a few days and they closed it. You have Google for Nonprofits giving out $10,000 in advertisement dollars if you qualify for a nonprofit. That is actually still going on. You just need to create a TechSoup account. So TECHSOUP soup account. And TechSoup is also it's an IT database for nonprofit organizations where you can actually get donated, you can qualify for discounted or donated IT equipment to run your nonprofit. So Google actually goes through them to validate the credibility of your nonprofit, and you can get up to $10,000 in advertisement dollars. That's a lot of money that you can use in elevating your SEO search, on Google for people to actually, and your visibility, whether it's a fundraiser you're raising and stuff like that, and then scaling back though, when you start your nonprofit, again, you want to rely heavily on your, yourself and your board of directors to invest. When you're starting out, is the family and friends investment, right? I have this cool thing that I really want to make change. I'm going to help, single moms that don't, are not able to afford daycare and go to work. I'm going to create a daycare program for them where their kids can come for free so these women can go out there and work. You want to reach those people at a place where they can feel the pain point and the impact. So you're selling people like, this is the struggle and this is how I'm going to relieve the struggle to create, improve somebody's life or a community's life. They need to feel both the pain point and the impact. And then, so it's your family and friends when you're starting out. It's the Facebook fundraisers, it's my birthday, I want to raise funds for this. But as I said, these funding sources are not sustainable. You will get a couple of hundreds, a couple of thousands of hundreds and stuff like that. They are not sustainable. You should be able to write, or if you can't, seek a grant writer, seek a nonprofit consultant. You need a great impact statement. Your impact statement is what sells for you when you're not there. You need a great impact statement that clearly defines what the purpose of the nonprofit is, clearly defines the impact and the transformation this nonprofit is creating in society, clearly defines what you have already done so far, the transformations. If you can actually get data to justify how, whatever product or service you're bringing to society is valuable, put that in your impact statement. And how the benefits of funders partnering with you. What is the benefit of them partnering with your nonprofit? And how are their dollars going to help you maximize, the personal capital of the nonprofit? You need a good impact statement to start going before funders. And I don't really consider it like funders. I call it building relationships because it's a partnership. And partnership is like a contract. It's a give and take. What do you bring to the table? So you actually have to, establish yourself in such a way that when you show up to this partnership meetings, people want to partner with you. And it starts again by looking at your structure, running your business, your nonprofit like a business, and, establishing frameworks and processes within your nonprofit to say that I have a functioning board. A lot of nonprofits are registered and they don't even have a functioning board. I have a functioning executive team. You want to present yourself like an organization that people can respect, an organization that people can see integrity. And another thing that people want to see is transparency. As a nonprofit, you have to file your taxes. That 990, you have to file it. And if you don't file your taxes as a nonprofit for 3 consecutive years, the IRS actually revokes your nonprofit exemption status. And you have to reapply to get it. Yes. So, and if you're making under $50,000, that's a 15-minute process. You just only have to do the 990N. You don't have to do the full 990. But I always encourage people as much as possible to do the full 990 because it actually shows you, a great breakdown and gives people are more trusting to invest in you. Because you can't be going after $100,000 grant or $100,000 fund when you're saying that in the last 3 years, I've only been using $20,000 annually to run the business.
Right.
So your numbers need to speak for what you're asking for. It goes back again to people that apply for the, 1023 easy. And it's good to say, you know what, 100% of my profits go to the charity. Okay, that's great. But you have to establish yourself. There's nothing wrong in paying yourself in your nonprofit or hiring people, but it's about how you report it. When you're doing your 1023 application, the IRS asks you, will you be, employ people? Will you have to say yes. You can't say no there and then you pay people. So it's not that it's wrong to actually employ people or pay yourself, is that you have to disclose it, transparency. The same transparency you owe to the IRS, you also owe to the people that are giving you their dollars.
Right.
When people donate, you have to follow up. You have to follow up with thank you letters because that's how you build relationship with recurring donors. You don't take money because you're launching some new community project this year, and then they don't hear back from you until next year when you're launching that project. You have to keep those relationships. You have to update them about all the, this $10,000 or $10 you gave me. This is how we have used it to create impact. Give them, impact reports. So people actually know that their money is doing something. So when you now have a new project a few months later, they feel more comfortable to give because you're transparent with them and you've actually shown them the value of their dollars. So yes.
It just goes to show the importance of networking, right?
Oh,
we think about business networking events, but everything that you just said is really about building relationships, which is so true. And so thinking about building out your networks, it's important to stay connected with people, right? Especially during these times when we're all sort of enclosed in our homes still, and there's still sort of danger out in the world in terms of the pandemic. So why don't you talk a little bit about WIIL and sort of how you came to network in your own world, right? Like how you've grown to accomplish so many different things. But I just wonder if you can speak to the importance of networking so folks maybe feel motivated to, join, get a little bit more active in the WIIL Summit community or join another Facebook group and make these connections to benefit their businesses and nonprofits in the future.
Yeah, as I shared in the beginning, for those that tuned in, WIIL, that's Women in Leadership, Development, and Empowerment. And we really are a community of women that are intentional and committed to personal growth, professional growth, and community service. And we've been in existence since 2011. And we're recently relaunching our membership community. So you can actually join us on Facebook. It is WIILD, WILDE. Winners Circle. So WIILD Winners Circle on Facebook. And we're kicking off our membership program back to the general community this November. So if you join the Facebook group WIILD Winners Circle, you will actually have, firsthand information on joining the community, or you can go to the website wildinc.org, and also you would have, join our mailing list and you will get that information. But, as I said, one thing that I am so happy about WIILD is the fact that we consume WIILD. And that's that connection building, that sisterhood. We are a community of women from diverse backgrounds and experiences. And within that network, if I'm looking for a marketing person, I'll go first and consume WIILD. That is how we build our network. That is how we support each other. The beautiful thing is we now take our skills, our experiences, and then invest them back in the community. So we give back. One of our events that, I think it's really great that, it's so timely and essential right now is our Give Mama Break Day. So Give Mama Break Day is one day that we take working mothers and we can go to a resort or, just someplace really cool. The last one we did it at Harvest Reach. And it's one day for women to come together and avoid burnout. Burnout is now classified under the ICD-11 codes, has a
Yes, it
disease.
is.
So yeah, so it's so important that women recognize when they're getting there before they actually get there. Like tap out at 30%. Don't wait till you're 80% stressed and burnout, right? So we created Give Mom a Break Day as an outlet for women to just come together. And we ask them for one thing. Today is about you. Relax, release, and rejuvenate. We bring in manicurists. We bring in, massage therapists. We have people teaching about, quick meals to cook and get out the door, quick workout tips, guided meditation. I teach a time management class. We have lots of vendors to just shop and love on. And this event is totally free to the community. So it's free to every working mom. All you have to do is register and come. So with COVID, I don't know if we would do another one this year, but we're tentatively scheduled to do one in October. But we will see how it goes this year. But even if you can join us this year, check out the next one. Again, go on our website and see all these activities that are going on. And another thing we're actively doing now, and we're slowing down as communities open, is our COVID-19 support. And we are providing surgical masks and N95 masks to our local hospitals and communities. So just, one of our recipients has been, Nemours Health for Children, Bayetta. We've actually shipped, across the nation to pregnant women, our unhoused community and stuff like that. So those are some projects that we're doing, and these are, I know we're investing back in our community. We're investing back in our women. And if you want to support us, definitely just go on our website. If you want to become a part of our community, just go on our website.
Wow. I am so glad that we talked tonight, Linda. I mean, really. I feel like I learned so much. Even though I've gone through the nonprofit process, I feel like I could go back and do it all over again, even better. And what a great organization, especially now, recognizing the importance of self-care and burnout, avoiding burnout, if you will. Yeah. I think that networking, especially diving into new groups, can be a little intimidating at first. But just so everybody knows, watching, Linda and I didn't know each other before this event, right? We got together and we had this great conversation, and now we have this connection with each other, right? And this was because of the Mill Summit community. So please check out Linda's website and please check out WIIL. Consider becoming a member. We must keep supporting organizations that are representative of diverse communities and are doing good, especially for women. I'm a little biased because I identify as a woman, but we must keep supporting girl power. Exactly. So please connect with Linda. Order her book. Get yourself a little signed copy. That's what I'll be doing. And we're so. Yes, on your website. We've got it here on the screen. And we're so looking forward to August and hearing you speak again at this year's Mill Summit. Thank you so much, Linda.
I'm very excited. Thank you guys for having me, and for everybody watching, thank you.
Take care, everyone. We'll see you soon.
All right, ciao.